In this session, we will go through subqueries, in particular inner query and correlated query. In the earlier session, we have seen only one select statement. So we can nest the select statements by adding query inside another query. Say for example, select star from employee where department ID in select ID from department where name equals to procurement, for example. Okay, so this is kind of a subquery. So wherein the inner query, so this is called inner query, whichever is in bracket, this is inner query. This query gets executed first, and whatever the output from this particular query will feed into outer query, which is this. So what this query does is it selects everything from employee where department ID is procurement. Suppose we don't know what is the ID for procurement. Right now we have only very few items in department table. So by looking at that we know. But suppose if we don't know what is the ID for procurement, and we want to get that ID first and then pass it on to the outer query. So this can be done by using what is called as inner queries. Okay, so this is part of subquery. So this is a subquery which feeds the values into this outer query. So let us execute this. There are 3 employees who are working with procurement department. Suppose if I want to get the employees from 2 different departments. Okay, and then I can put in name as equal to infrastructure. Infrastructure. Okay. Okay, now it displays all the employees belonging to these 2 departments. So let us execute only the inner query. So right now the inner query contains 2 values. So that means the outer query loops through the values provided by inner query. Right now we have 4 and 5. In the first instance, it will go through ID 4 and displays, and in the second, it goes through ID 5 and collects all those information and puts it in the output. So this is what happens whenever we select. It's a kind of a for loop. Okay, so this is nothing but inner query. Okay, let us look at what is correlated query. So this is inner query, and let's look at suppose say I want to know how many employees are working for each of the departments. So how many departments do we have? So in total there are 5 departments and 12 employees. So I want to see how many people are working for each of these departments. Okay, so let us see how to achieve that using subqueries. In particular, correlated query. Okay, so what I will do is select. So what we want to look for the department first. So that is name of the department, and I'm going to provide here total employees, which is the column name, which will get the value from so this is a subquery select count star from employee table okay select count star from employee table because we want to count the number of employees belonging to each of these departments where okay now employee dot department ID is equal to department dot ID. Okay, and now from department. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I am getting the count from employee table where employee department ID. Since there is a foreign key relationship between employee and department, I'm combining them, I'm equating them to get the count. So in the inner query, what happens is for every value of inner query, the outer query repeats. Okay, and here what happens is for every value of outer query, the inner query repeats. So let me repeat this. So inside correlated query, what happens is for every value obtained from department table, this query gets repeated. Okay, whereas in inner query, this query is executed first, and then whatever the value is provided by this particular inner query, the outer query gets executed. In inner query value feeds to outer query, wherein in correlated query, outer query value feeds to inner query. Okay, so let us see what happens here. Let me execute this. Okay, so under big data we have 3 employees, big data platform we have 2, and in finance we have 1, procurement we have 3, and infrastructure we have 3. I hope this subquery topic is clear. It's a kind of looping wherein the outer query loops through the values provided by the inner query in inner query, and in correlated query the inner query gets repeated by the value provided by the outer query. So that is the difference.